What's going on, world? It's James Lott here with Keller Williams Realty. I hope all of you are doing well out there and killing it in 2019. This is a huge year, and I know you're out there hustling, grinding, getting your stuff together for your future and building something great. Now, what I want to talk to you about is how I actually got into the real estate industry. I've been in the business now. I got licensed at the end of 2013. December of 2013 is now 2019. It's crazy to think it's been that long. But my journey was a little bit different. It was kind of unique in that this was not initially what I thought that I was going to be doing. So I came to Orange County in 2008 from the city of Palmdale to attend Cal State Fullerton for college. And just like any other college student, didn't really know what I wanted to do. Yet I did know business was kind of something that I was into. I started as a pre-business major in college, but then took like accounting and a couple economics classes and was like, this is not business. This is not what I want to learn. So I thought about other careers and other paths of where I can build a good future and make some money. Quite honestly, that's what we all want to do, right? Is make some money. So I decided at that point in my sophomore year saying, hey, I'm going to change my major and I'm going to go to law school. So I changed my major from pre-business to philosophy, and then I minored in political science. And I was about one class away from double majoring in both philosophy and political science, but I didn't take on that next class because I didn't feel like it was necessary. But anyways, 2013 comes around, I graduate, and again, law school was what I wanted to do. I took the LSAT, and all I had to do was send in my applications to these different law schools that I was going to apply to. I had my letters of recommendations going and was ready for all that. But at the time, I was actually interning at a law firm local here in Orange County. And I sat down with a lot of attorneys and was able to kind of pick their brains on a lot of stuff. And for whatever reason, nobody gave me a real vibe of happiness in what they were doing, right? And I was 21, so I was still young. When my mentor at the time, I really sat down with him and talked to him and was like, hey, law school is what I want to do. And then he asked me, why do you want to go to law school? And I was like, to make money. And then he literally looked me dead in my eye and was like, that's not a good reason to want to go to law school and get yourself $200,000 in debt in 3 years. So what he suggested was like, hey, go ahead and think of something else that you want to do and do that. And then if you still want to go to law school in the future, you can go. You're only 21 now. The average age of somebody in law school is 26. So I was like, okay. So I decided to not apply for law school and not go that route. And then at the time also, I was tutoring at a charter school in Anaheim. So I was still making a little bit of money, and I graduated. My pay went up after I got my bachelor's. So I was like, okay, so let me take these next 6 months to really figure out what I want to do. So I applied for a commercial real estate internship at a company down in Newport, just to kind of get my feet wet. And real estate was always something that I was interested in, and I knew that a lot of wealth was accumulated in the industry, so I kind of wanted to figure out how to get my foot in the door and learn a little bit. So I applied for this internship knowing that it was only specifically for business students. In the ad, it said specifically for business students. Now remember, I changed my major to philosophy and political science my junior year. So I didn't have a business degree, but they called me back anyway, and I went on the interview. So I go on the interview, I meet with the VP at the time of that company, and I killed that initial interview. He loved me. So he said, well, hey, look, I like you, but the only problem is that you're not a business student. So let me go talk to the board or whoever made the decisions, and let me come back and we'll talk and we'll see if we can give you that opportunity. So after the interview, I go home, kind of hang out a little bit. I'm like, yes, I kill it. I'm about to be in commercial real estate. I remember leaving the office and calling my dad, say, Dad, I'm in Newport Beach. I'm about to get this internship. And I was super excited. Next day, VP calls me and he says, James, look, the fact of the matter is that you're a great candidate, but this paid internship is only for business students, and we can't allow somebody who's not a business student to come and take that position from somebody. And I was a little disappointed, obviously, but he said, And he said, but hey, look, go get your real estate license and then come back and talk to me. We might have an opportunity at that point. So that same week, I go sign up for my real estate license and I start taking the classes. Knock out the classes in about 5 months. I kind of lagged a little bit, quite honestly. And then I passed the test. And the day that I passed the test, I think that was in August of 2013, I called that same VP that interviewed me for that internship. I called him right back. And I said, hey, this is James Lott. I'm not sure if you remember me, but you said to go get my real estate license, come back, you might have an opportunity. So he was like, yeah, oh, James, absolutely, I remember you. Perfect. Let me set you up on a phone interview with one of our recruiters and see how you do on that, and then we can take it from there. So I was like, okay, great. Can you give me any insight on what they're gonna ask me, or how is this gonna go? So he says, James, I can't really help you on that. Just do the best that you can and we'll see. So that next day, I get on the phone with the recruiter and we're on the phone for about 45 minutes. He's asking me a lot of different questions regarding real estate, regarding commercial real estate, databases, all this terminology stuff that I had no idea about. And quite honestly, I bombed it. I did what I could. I answered to the best of my ability like I was told, but I just was not knowledgeable enough at the time to really do well on that interview. So right after that interview, the next day, the VP calls me back and says, James, look, you're an intelligent guy, you're charismatic, you could definitely do well in this industry, but quite frankly, you're not ready for commercial real estate right now. Go get some experience in residential real estate, kind of learn the terminology a little bit, and if you want to jump into commercial later down the road, then come back and we'll talk. So at this point, and this is, all this is going on, I'll give you the short version, but this is like within a year and a half of stuff that's transpiring. So I'm like, after I have that call and after I bomb that commercial interview, I'm like, man, like I was kind of banking on that. I don't know what else I'm gonna do. So that week, I set up interviews with every company in North Orange County in residential real estate. So Century 21, Keller Williams, obviously, First Team Real Estate. I mean, I met with a lot of people within that week and a half. And I made my decision to join a different company. It was actually First Team that I had made the decision in my mind to join. But I still had one more interview, and it was with Keller Williams Realty in Yorba Linda. So I go and meet with Keller Williams, and this is in October. It's right after my 23rd birthday of 2013. And I meet with them, and I'm sitting there, and the environment was just completely different from any other office that I had gone into. I mean, I had sat down with other brokers, other businesses, where they literally told me, we're not in the business of making new agents good. We're just in the business of making current agents better. Basically saying I wasn't good enough or I wasn't going to be successful. So I'm not going to name that company. If you want to, personally ask me, then I might be able to give you that info. But I don't want to put anybody out there. But anyways, I'm meeting with Keller Williams. I'm sitting there, and the environment is great. The energy is great. And then I see another younger guy walk in that I recognize from college. Again, I went to Cal State Fullerton, and I see another younger guy walk in. I was like, okay, so this is kind of this is the cool vibe that I'm kind of looking for. So right after that, I go link up with that individual from college that I kind of knew, and kind of picked his brain a little bit on what it's going to take to be successful in the business, because everybody was talking to me about him and how well he was doing and all that. So at the time, he was a solo agent, doing pretty well, and he had a vision of wanting to start and build a team. So with me kind of jumping in the industry, not knowing hardly anything at all, it made sense for me to join up and try to learn as much as possible from this guy and kind of partner up and start really building a team. But at that point, I was also part-time, remember, because I was still working at that school. So my schedule, starting in January of 2014, was get to the real estate office around 7:30 or 8 o'clock, get on the phones, prospect to try to build a business until about 9:45, leave there, go straight to my other job at 10 o'clock. From 10 to 5, I'll be tutoring at the school. And then from 5:30 to about 7:30, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, I'll go back to the office and work on the real estate business. And then on the weekends, I was doing open houses pretty much every weekend. I mean, there was a time in 2014 where I worked for about 4 months straight, no days off. And it worked, because it helped me become a better person. It helped me really build the habits that were necessary to really build something that's sustainable in the long term. But I knew that working at my other job at the school wasn't, as much as I love, teaching, as much as I love kids, it wasn't something that I was going to stay in for the long term. For whatever reason, I have an entrepreneurial mindset, which is a little bit different from, my family, from a lot of people that were around me. I mean, my dad was an educator for 40 years and still, is on boards in the Antelope Valley. My mom was a preschool teacher, so kind of taking that education route was always something that I knew was there, but it wasn't something that I really wanted to focus on and wanted to do, So going back to the real estate, to the business, after a couple years of doing that crazy schedule of, going to the school, going to the office every day, I decided that it was time to take that leap and jump straight into real estate. And that was in October of 2015, where I made that jump. Jumped into real estate full time, and it's crazy because the mindset is so different when you're an entrepreneur versus being employed, right? So my mistake, and this is being transparent, my mistake was just not changing my spending habits to make sure that I can sustain, if there's a month that I don't sell the house or something like that. So I quit probably during the worst time too. It's the last quarter of the year. Typically that's the worst quarter for real estate. So I quit in October. I sold like $1 million house right before that. So I had some money, but I didn't stop spending as if I was still having that school income. So fast forward to about February of 2016, I am like looking at my bank account like, whoa, like what is going on here? Like I quit so that I could start building the business. But in real estate, what most people don't understand and what they don't realize is that there's a 90-day cycle from the time you meet somebody to the time you put them into a house and get paid. So there's a 90-day cycle. So that's 3 months. So during this time I'm reading, I'm learning, doing as much as I can and growing. But it wasn't showing in my bank account, so I was grateful for that. So 2016 was kind of a bit of a rough year. It was definitely a lot of growth that I had to do personally in order to make sure that I can stay and build a business, and then at the time as well, as I mentioned before, I was helping, in building a team with the gentleman that I had partnered up with, and the team was continuing to grow. So in addition to selling homes, I was training people, teaching, and making sure everybody's hitting their goals, because he got another position within our office as the team leader of our office. So that happened, and then that kind of put me in position to be the leader of the team that we had helped build. So I wore a lot of different hats, and it was like that until last year, until November of 2018. We decided that it was best to kind of part ways and for me to start building my own personal brand and my own personal business. Now, I was truthfully grateful for that opportunity back, in being that team leader and growing a team. But there was a lot that I didn't know, and it was kind of like falling on my face every day, But I learned a lot, and it made me a better person. So now, fast forward to today, I am focusing on building my own personal brand, my own personal business. That's why you might be seeing, hashtag sold by a lot. Website is soldbyalot.com. I'm really focusing on building that, and building something that is a little bit different than the typical person that you might see out there on a park bench, not a park bench, but a bus bench, or those realtors that you see, with that headshot that's kind of like corny. I know I have one of those too, but it's kind of just, that's what so that's where I'm at. That's kind of how I got into the industry, and I love it, man. I meet so many different people, and I learn pretty much what people don't realize in this business is that it's not hard to get your license. right? So people will go watch a show like $1 Million Listing or something like that and think that they're gonna instantly start making thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, but it's not that easy. The average realtor in Orange County sells 4 homes a year, maybe not even that. And, you know, that's not a true business to be able to sustain. You know, I've been blessed enough to do more than that, much more than that. And, you know, I'm grateful for that. And I'm going to continue to grow and get better. But I think what separates me from a lot of people is just that mindset of building a business and learning everything that it takes in order to do that at a high level. Because there's people out there that are doing, you know, 200 deals a year, 300 deals a year. And, you know, it's the difference that they have is, you know, they're truthfully looking at the industry as a business, not as a hobby. Unfortunately, this industry is saturated with a lot of people that look at it as a hobby and not a business. So, you know, that's kind of my journey from beginning till now. I left out a lot. There's a lot that went on, but if you want more information, you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Don't hesitate. I'm here to help in any way that I can. And you know, I'm just here to make people better and to better myself and to better everybody around me, you know. And mindset is one of the main things that I know is super important. They say in business, it's 95% mindset, 5% action. You know, so with that being said, I'm going to sign off here. But again, any questions, feel free to reach out. I'll put my information below. James Lott signing off.